Have you ever worked for a company and you walk in the door and they ask you, could you do such and such? You know that ain't your job title, but they ask you to do it, and you're feeling good that day. So you're like, sure, I do it. And next thing you know, because you said, sure, I do it, every time you look around, here they come to you. Why? Because they finna use you. They finna use you. Well, hello everyone and welcome back. In this video, we're going to talk a little bit about field inspection and loan signing. We're going to talk about how they vary and how they are the same. And I decided to compose this video because I know a lot of people that are out there on the fence of whether or not they're going to do loan signing, or whether or not they're going to do field inspection, or whether they're going to do both. And you may be a lot of you out there like me who are already doing both. But some of you who may be on the fence and just don't know what you want to do, I'm here to help you, hopefully in this one video, because I don't want you guys to be possibly leaving any money out there, any money that needs to be made. I want you to be able to make it because you are now what? Informed. You know it's hard out here. It's hard out here for a pimp. Ooh, you know what I think of a word is there. Trying to make the money for the rent. With the Cadillac and gas money spent, got a whole lot of jumping ship. Oh, hard out here for a pimp. Trying to make the money for the rent. The Cadillac and gas money spent, got a whole lot of jumping ship. Sorry. I had to add a little taste of soul in there, so I don't get no copyright on that. Okay, so let's move on. First thing, how are they the same? Scheduling. Suppose someone called you, they saw you on your website or on Google, and they say, you know what, I like her, I like him. Let me see if I can get them on the phone. They call you. In order for you to do a loan signing, what you're going to have to do? You're going to have to schedule an appointment. Same thing, field inspection. We schedule appointments. Everybody does it. We're not talking about apps now. We're talking about companies, especially with field inspection for insurance companies or construction. Sometimes you may have to schedule an appointment. Printing. Of course, you got to do a whole lot of printing when it comes to loan signing. Well, for the most part, you're going to have to print when it comes to field inspection. Some people don't. Once again, especially if you're using apps. But I go to people's doors and I do a courtesy knock and let them know I'm in their yard. I'm able to show them on the paperwork their name versus their insurance company. They're all nice and neat together, so they know it ain't no scam. And they're like, oh, okay, have your way. So you're always going to pay to have paperwork, especially depending on what type of inspections you're doing or how deep those inspections can get. And we're going to talk about that in just a moment. But you most definitely need them papers printed because you may have a whole lot of questions that you got to ask the person when you get to their home. Next is, you're going to be mobile on both avenues. It doesn't matter if you're doing loan signing or if you're doing field inspection. You're going to have to be able to drive. You're going to have to be able to use your car because you are a mobile notary loan signing agent, or you are a field inspector. You can't get around without a car, so you're going to have to drive. The next thing is, if you use signing services, they mostly already have the location set for you, which is in the person's home. Well, you already know when you do field inspection, that's where you're going, unless you're doing construction. So now let's talk about that money. It's not a huge variation if you play your cards right pertaining to the differences in making money for loan signing and making money for field inspection. If you're doing field inspection and you're working through a company, you would actually can get a bulk of work. Let's give you an example. Suppose you do a general notary work and it's what? $40. You say, I'll go ahead and take it. Is it because you get to be cute? Get to put on your little cute girls, put on your makeup? Well, you can do the same thing if you're doing field inspection work. Okay, you take the general notary work. It's $40. You go ahead and take it. You may not even see another one, especially if you're working through a signing service all that week. But if you're doing field inspection and you're working through a company, they might have gave you a buckload. Those at least pay $15. So let's say they give you a bulk order for like 6 of them. So you got 6 field inspections that you need to do, and each one of them is going to run you about $15 a pop. because these are the smaller orders where you're only going to have to do what, like 6, 7 photos at the most. Well, that's a total of $90. So if they are actually like in a cluster or they're somewhere close within the same vicinity, let's say 0.8 miles to the next house, 0.3 to the next house, 3 miles to the next house, maybe 4.25 to the next house, and you done did 6 of them, you've made $90. If you was just doing notary work, you just made that 40 and that's it. So sometimes you just have to outweigh it. And then based off of what type of work you're getting, you just never know. Because there are other different instances too, as far as where money is concerned. So let's say, for instance, you have a loan signing and they offer you one and it's $100. And you know you're gonna be at this house probably an hour, maybe a little less. But for the most part, some people may have to be at the house a little longer than that. You may even get 200, 250. I don't know what they're paying you. All I know is that you're gonna be getting some loan signers that's gonna give you that type of money. So you're thinking, I prefer to just do that over field inspection. Well, I can tell you from experience myself that the last time I got a $250, it's been a couple of weeks. A couple of weeks from loan signing. But field inspection, for example, this week I have 6 high value homes where you have to make an appointment and go see the actual insured at their house. They're going to have a lot of questions that they have to answer. And after they finish answering these questions, you have a lot of pictures that you have to take. Well, you already know what every picture is on the list. Once you learn how to do the job, you go outside and sketch the home off and you're done. And it's $100 per home. So I have 6 of them this week on the same day, back to back. And the first one is at 8 o'clock in the morning, and I will be home by 2. See, there's no way I'm gonna leave money like that on the table waiting on loan signing. Gotta be crazy if you think I'm gonna do that. Negotiations, okay? You can negotiate more money over the phone with an escrow for signings, because I know you can, because I did. I didn't actually negotiate. I was just like, no. And then they were like, well, I give you, they really wanted it done. They really wanted it done. I don't consider it a negotiation. So I don't really know how much you can actually negotiate with these people. But I know for a fact you can do it through field inspection. Let me correct myself. For those of you who are not getting more money to do field inspection work if you're already doing it. So let me correct myself. I'm pretty sure all companies will try you. Have you ever worked for a company and you walk in the door and they ask you, could you do such and such? You know that ain't your job title, but they ask you to do it, and you're feeling good that day. So you're like, sure, I do it. The next thing you know, because you said, sure, I do it, every time you look around, here they come to you. Why? Because they finna use you. They finna use you. Because you the only one out of everybody that's done hit the door that they done asked, who done actually said, sure, I do it. Sure, I do it. Sure, I do it. So every company will try you. If they can get out of paying you, they ain't gonna pay you. If I would have never opened my mouth the first time that I was being sent somewhere outside of my range, there are literally 40 plus zip codes around me within a 5-mile radius. So I didn't see a reason for me to have to go anywhere else outside of that. Well, I learned very quickly that some companies may not even have homes or construction sites or anything like that within your range. They may be actually on the outskirts of town. So I had to actually be able to maneuver. But I was not going to be maneuvering without them giving me more money to do it. And do you know what? It's not like these companies don't have the money to pay you. They got the money to pay you. But if you don't open your mouth and they say, we got this going this over there, and you already know that you're going way over here and it's going to take you an hour to get over there, and this order is only $15. Now, I had that last week. The person called me, because I ain't calling no names because he's a very, very nice man. But he called me and he was like, Deitra, are you thinking about going to? No. I already knew what he was about to ask. No. Well, why not? I said, because first of all, it's just the DOS, and I am not going that far for $15. You got to be crazy. You're going to have to find somebody else to get into, because my car ain't going there. They offered me $150 just to go to a location for $15. So do you think that I'm not going to go now? When this done went from $15 to $165? Of course I win. But if you don't open your mouth and they just load you up with work and you just jumping in your car going to these locations, they're not going to give you any extra money. They're not going to adjust you anything because they think that you are just happy with what you're making. I already told y'all, closed mouths don't get fed. So now let's discuss how they're different, shall we? With loan signing, these people want their loan signed now. They want their money now, like ASAP. So that means those schedules have to be made quickly. You got to do that like they want it now. But with field inspection, you got time to make the schedule and go see these people and get this work done. Printing. Loan signing requires a LaserJet printer. Field rep, they don't care because the printing is up to you anyway. I print mainly because I don't want to make a mistake. But when you get ready to go do, like I said, high value homes or anywhere where you're actually making an appointment, that means you have questions and stuff that you need to ask. You want to make sure that you ask all these questions so that you can input the right information when you get back home, put it in the system. So you're going to need to print. But you're not required to use an inkjet printer. You can use any old printer. It could be knocking it, knock, falling off the shelf. You got to run and catch it and pick it back up. It don't matter what it's doing. Just as long as you got something to print your paper out, help you get the work done. As far as the money goes, unless you're one of those lucky ones that has non-stop signing work and you're waiting on work and hoping for work, just like most of us, like me, because I be waiting on work. I'm sitting around now waiting on work. And when work do come, it comes all in the middle of the day when I can't work. And then I have actually just clicked the button just to see what's going to happen. It ain't get to me. If you waiting on money like I am, then you already know. Loan signing, you're going to have to wait unless you lucky and you direct and they just giving you all the work, or your cousin work at the escrow and you ain't telling nobody. You just trying to show us all the money you making. I ain't gonna call no names. But unless you one of those, yeah, you may want to consider jumping in on the field service, at least just a little bit. I wouldn't even tell you if it was bad. If it was something hard, I ain't doing it. Because what I do, I work smart, not hard. I come up with a strategy before I leave the house. So I'm putting zip codes together. So if I got 2 appointments I can hit, when I leave those 2 appointments, I can immediately hit 4 or 5 that don't require an appointment on my way back home and be to knock some stuff out in about an hour and a quarter. At the end of the day, a hump is a hump. If you're going to get it, you're going to have to hump it. It's just what it is. Now, I'm not saying getting rid of loan signing. I'm not saying that. I was just actually comparing the two because at the end of the day, one is really good. And on the other side, the other one is really good. So you just never know what you're going to get. But don't leave money out there on the table. But before you go get it, you know what to do. Hit that like, subscribe, turn that notification bell, because you know I got something coming later. Thank you guys so much for watching. Enjoy the rest of your day.